The new on-field Electro DPS character coming to Genshin Impact 4.7 is Sethos. I really don't understand what they're doing releasing two on-field DPS Electro characters at the same exact time, one being a 5-star and one being a 4-star. It's just really weird to me. Welcome to Jello Impact, where we build and test every single character to help you decide who you want to wish for and build. By the way, I'm sure a lot of you are loving Wuthering Waves, and so if you want more Wuthering Wave content, it's going to be on my second channel, The Jello Show. I'll link it in the pinned comment. Make sure to go subscribe. I'll be dropping a lot more content for the game very soon. So Sethos not only has like a confusing identity in that he's another on-field Electro DPS character, which we are not short of, by the way. I talked about how many different things Sethos could be in my Sethos speculation video, and Electro on-field DPS was the last thing I personally expected, being a 4-star. I understand that they like to do 4-star DPSs, and I guess I just don't know why. I do like his animations though. A lot of 4-star DPSs, especially in the past, have had sort of boring animations, and I think that Sethos's look really cool, like especially his charge shot here, like that looks really nice and looks satisfying to do. He's got passives where he'll consume energy to use his charge shot, so that's one way to play him, where it's kind of like a quick charge like Tighnari, where he consumes his elemental burst energy to use his charge shot. And the other way to play him is to use his elemental burst that infuse his normal attacks with Electro, similar to someone like Aloy. I can't actually remember if Aloy uses her burst, but yeah, so he uses his burst there, and then his normals are infused with Electro, and that looks cool too. The weird thing is we can't exactly figure out why, like, how to merge these two playstyles together. He's basically got split scaling in terms of his kit, like not split scaling in the sense that there's two stats that you want to level up at the same time and they're contradictory, but there's two different playstyles, so it's like split playstyles, which I think I would be more fine with if one of the playstyles was maybe an off-field support playstyle and the other was an on-field DPS playstyle. That would be really cool. But two different on-field DPS playstyles that both use his energy, it's very confusing, and I almost didn't want to make this video because I don't know if we're really going to be able to understand what Hoyo is cooking until we actually play the character. Unfortunately, I'm going to have early access to the character, so I'm going to be testing him at C0 and at his other impactful constellations, because it's looking like his C6 is going to be a very impactful part of his playstyle. So I'm going to try and do my best cooking and figure out if there's a way we can synergize both of his playstyles. And it might be that his playstyles give him enough energy because he has different passives that give him more energy, especially at his higher constellations. Maybe somehow we can do a split rotation, and through utilizing characters that battery a lot, like Fischl, we're going to be able to figure out how to merge these two playstyles together. By the way, I'm not saying that he's going to be bad, by the way. I think that he's probably going to be a pretty good DPS. I think he's going to be on the same level as Keqing, maybe a bit worse because he's maybe going to be a bit more restrictive, but I think he's going to be pretty good. But this does sort of tie into the video I made the other day where we talk about his team. So a lot of people are thinking he has shorter field time. He's kind of like Tighnari. Maybe he'll be like a dual DPS with Tighnari. Sethos mainly would want an aggravate team with probably Fischl, Baiju, and Kazuha, and so putting Tighnari into that team, he's not really being buffed himself. And the Genshin Scientist made a great point in his Sethos video where we don't really have a buffer that can buff both Tighnari and Sethos. And this made me start thinking about what I'm expecting for Natlan. I talked about in my Natlan video how I think dual DPS comps are going to be the meta for Natlan, and we're going to get not only dual DPSs that are meant to be played together, but also buffers that specifically work and make dual DPSs better. And so my crackpot theory is that Sethos and Chlorande, to some extent, because of her shorter field time, are sort of future characters in the sense that they're going to be solid right now. Chlorande more so than Sethos. Both are going to be solid. Chlorande I think will be quite good. We'll have to wait and see. But come Natlan, we'll get some sort of buffers that will buff both Tighnari and Sethos on the same team and allow dual DPS comps to shine. But for now, it's looking like Tighnari won't be the best on Sethos' teams, and he'll be mostly just a good aggravate carry, which we don't need more aggravate carries. Pretty much any Electro can be a good aggravate carry. Sino, Yoimiya, Raiden, Keqing. We're getting Chlorand, who's best with aggravate. Lisa's a pretty good aggravate carry. Aggravate carry is not what we need right now. For his artifacts, it's looking like Gilded Dreams, Wanderer's Troop, and weirdly enough, the Desert Pavilion Chronicle, which although the 2-piece doesn't work, assuming his normal attacks do count as charge attacks, then this will actually be a good set as well. Not so much better than the other two. All three of them are pretty close. Wanderer's Troop is likely going to be the best for most people because you've gotten a lot of free Wanderer's Troop over the years. So he could be a character that finally uses it, which is pretty cool. And of course, it's possible that Thundering Fury could be good as well, but that's one of those things we'll have to test more. For weapons, as an Elemental Mastery scaler, Hunter's Path will be the best, but Slingshot will also be very good. It's basically just Tighnari's weapons all over again. The same things that are good for Tighnari are going to be good for Sethos. And for artifacts, it's going to be Elemental Mastery, Electro Damage Bonus, and Crit. I'm also definitely curious on how well Elegy of the End could perform, maybe especially in the future with those dual DPSs, but you don't really want to waste energy recharge stats on him, so probably not going to be his best, but it could be interesting anyways. So overall, he's one of the two confusing characters coming out in this patch. I don't think he'll be bad. I think if you want to go for him, then I think that that's totally fine, but I don't know that he brings very much value to very many people's accounts because he is just another Electro DPS. But if you're excited for him, like, his animations look good, he looks cool, he looks like he'll be fun to play, but getting high constellations is going to be challenging, especially early on. Maybe down the road he'll have more people who get C6 who will have fun with him, but I think he's going to be that. I think he's going to be a very fun character, but I don't think he's going to be any sort of game warping character. I would have loved to, if I sound disappointed, it's just because I would have just loved to see something different. Being a 4-star DPS just brings so little. There's almost, unless they're randomly a top DPS, which it doesn't look like he'll be, being a 4-star DPS just brings almost nothing interesting to the overall scope of the game, especially for the element of Electro. If we got a 4-star Hydro DPS, that could be pretty cool. A 4-star Dendro DPS maybe could have something interesting, just because those elements, we don't have very many DPSs of them, but Electro or Pyro or Animo, we have a lot of DPSs for these elements. Heck, even a 4-star Geo DPS would be more interesting because it'd be like, oh, can they work with Navia? But Electro just right now doesn't have a lack of DPS in any way, shape, or form. But that doesn't mean I won't be playing him, I won't be trying him, and going in with my mind open. I think, again, his animations looks cool, he looks fun to play, there's some interesting, weird, unique stuff. Maybe they're beta testing for future characters, they're spending time with multiple playstyles for testing for future 5-star characters or future other DPSs. That could very well be, but make sure to subscribe for my guide. His guide will be coming out either the night of or the next day after release, so just wait a little bit before, like, you can obviously start building him in the meantime, but wait a little. If you're gonna actually wish for him, maybe wait for myself and other people's reviews to fully come out. We're gonna do Alhaitham guide tomorrow, and then we're gonna take a few days off, and we'll start the new month strong with Banner review, Siegewind pre-release, Chlorand guide on day 1. I have an artifact video coming out, and I'll be posting a lot of Wuthering Waves content as well, so go subscribe to the second channel. Thanks so much, take care, bye for now.